Is there a danger in believing things that are almost definitely false if it has some kind of salubrious effect on society? It bothers me that we would ask people to believe something to make the society better that's not true.
Okay, does that bother you in any other parts of your life? You know, there are polite fictions in all kinds of places. The world is made up of things that we act as though towards, and then we deal with that in a more gestalt way.
I want to move society in a better direction. I just don't believe people should believe lies. Welcome to the Danube Institute. Today we're going to do the claim, Christianity's time has passed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, I can see I have my work cut out for me. The argument that would convince me to move to the neutral is if you could tell me that there's something worse that's coming, and we need to hold on to pre-medieval superstitions, because if we lose those, worse things are going to happen. Can you provide that for me? Either one.
Yeah, I mean, everything that's worse is coming, Peter. We see it on the streets every day, social breakdown, anomie, lives that are listless and purposelessness. And that's essentially what Christianity provides. It provides a framework. It provides a mechanism by which people can deal with the broad existential horror of just being alive and being a person. And most people are sort of slightly ill-equipped to do that for various reasons. It's just not easy to come up sui generis with a moral framework if you are just Joe Schmo. And as we've seen Christianity decline throughout the West, we've seen family breakdown, we've seen drug abuse, we've seen all kinds of social ills.
So when you say Christianity's time has passed, are you referring to what's happened, like the crisis of meaning now? You think that the crisis among young people, the existential dread that they have, the lack of purposelessness, that's because Christianity has declined. Is that the claim?
The claim is that Christianity has declined, and that is in some sense responsible for the broader crisis of meaning. I mean, we could point to other things, socialistic ideas, postmodernism, etc. But at heart, it's a structure for meaning, and that's why it's important.
Is there a danger in believing things that are almost definitely false if it has some kind of salubrious effect on society?
It depends what you mean by almost definitely false. I mean, many things in Christianity are irredeemably true.
That a man walked on water is ridiculous. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it.
Love thy neighbor as thyself seems
that's
fairly
a moral
true
claim.
to me. Let he is without sin cast the first stone seems fairly true to me.
That's different from an empirical claim, though. We know that these empirical claims are just nonsense. We all know that.
Okay, well, I'm not interested in getting into sort of archaeology here with you, Peter. That doesn't seem like a good use of anyone's time and carbon dating. But the truth is there when you visit, the Sistine Chapel. The truth is there when you kneel in prayer, whether you want it to be or not. The truth is that a person can commune with that deeper part of themselves. And that is the thing that people are looking for and increasingly are coming back to.
And are you concerned that if people believe these things, that they lose something fundamental in what it means to be reasonable and rational? Are you concerned that the belief in these radical and extraordinary claims demeans someone's sense of reason and humanity at a fundamental level?
I'm saying that in the 20th century, we got very absorbed in micro-rationality. We got absorbed in syllogisms, this, therefore this, what can we prove? And this very sort of Baconian idea of what constitutes truth. And I'm trying to tell you that there is a bigger truth that we can only gesture towards, which is about the universe and our place in it. And you can call that God, you can call that whatever you want. In the West, it is redeemed through Christianity. That is our cultural tradition, if you will.
If the basis of Christianity was not true, should people still believe it if it were going to give them a better society?
that is a lot of hypotheticals, Peter. I mean, I guess the basic
It's the
idea...
essence of the question, though.
It's not the essence of the question.
Really?
The question is like, this is what we have. This is our disbursement. We are, as Europeans, as Westerners, thrown into this world, and we have certain tools which have been gifted to us by our forefathers in order to deal with that and to live as prosperous a life as we possibly can.
Yeah, so here's what bothers me about this claim. It bothers me that we would sacrifice something fundamental. It bothers me that we would ask people to believe something to make the society better that's not true. That's what bothers me.
Okay, I mean, does that bother you in any other parts of your life? You know, there are polite fictions in all kinds of places. The world is made up of things that we act as though towards, and then we deal with that in a more gestalt way.
Yeah, I mean, I act as though money is real,
Yeah.
and I orient my life around that. That's very different from metaphysical or supernatural claims that ask me to really, I mean, money is real, I can see it, I can touch it, I can feel it. That's very different from asking me to accept claims about supernatural entities. And it's even more different from asking everybody to accept those claims because they want to move society in some better direction. I want to move society in a better direction. I just don't believe people should believe lies. I think it's more important to believe true things, and if we have to sacrifice a society that's less prosperous, less wealthy, maybe even less flourishing, because we hold to our ideals of valuing what's true and reason and evidence, that in the long term, that will lead to our ultimate flourishing. Not lying to people about some guy, coming from a tomb. That's just nonsense.
But is money a lie? I don't know. I feel like money is real in a very real way, and in the same sense, it has an instrumental value. It is an abstraction, and it is something that we act as though towards, and that's kind of what I'm saying. And you're a hardcore utilitarian, from what I understand of your philosophy. So, in that sense, like, why wouldn't you want to do something that, even if it did, let's accept your premise, have a noble lie written within it, move everyone to a higher state of individual and collective?
Yeah. No, I'm not
utility.
a utilitarian. I just think that there's something inherently demeaning of personhood when you believe things that are not true.
We'll say man is a mythological creature. We will need some pious fictions probably until the end of time, simply because we can't know everything, and we need something to motivate us to glue a society together. If you're not, it is not demanded of you in Christianity that you believe literally in the Old Testament stories, but for instance, in other religions, monotheistic or non-monotheistic, you will have far many more constraints upon your freedom of speech, freedom to think than in Christianity. I would say it's the least worst option in terms of religious belief in a society, and whatever else comes will be more restrictive.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of an example historically of a society in which people have become worse off when their population has become more considered and more reasonable. I can't seem to think of one. Maybe I could think of...
It's a bit of a straw man, though, Peter. Like, what is it to become considered unreasonable?
To believe things that are not prima facie idiotic.
Well, hello. I mean, like, lots of societies have things that seem
The noble
idiotic
lie.
to you.
The noble lie.
But they have reasonability in other areas.
Sure, yeah, for sure, 100%. India, someone said. So I'd be willing to tell you, no problem, what it would take me to move to the neutral, or what it would take me to move to the agree. What would it take you guys to move to the slightly disagree? What would you have to hear?
Well, that there was a better, a more readily available, popularizable, beautiful mechanism through which people could be induced to participate in their better selves.
There is. There is. What do you think that is?
There are many ideas which haven't been come to surface only because people are still adhering to Christianity. So I think that there are plenty of ideas, whether you want to call it Buddhism or certain other ideas, which are under the shadow and under the premise of this greater umbrella, which is Christianity, which doesn't allow certain, let's say, philosophies to come to the surface. And if it was that Christianity the time is over, then there will be new ideas, new philosophies would come and could take shape in the collective consciousness.
You want to respond to that? And I'll give you mine. Mine is science provides the ultimate tool of wonder for people, and that doesn't ask you to believe anything that's clearly idiotic or false.
But science is a methodology, Peter.
It's a way of viewing the world.
It's a very dry tool. It's a tool for excluding things that we cannot know.
And that's a great way to live our lives. And it also provides.
But it doesn't make art, though, does it?
No, but people can make art suffering from a wide range of delusions. But science provides a sense of wonder for things. A sense of wonder that's based in reality and not. Look, when the Bible was written, people didn't even have basic lens technology. They had nothing. They knew nothing about the world. And they codified stories, for example, in the Quran, the prohibitions against eating pork were for reasons based on trigonosis, what happens when you eat raw pork. And so we have prohibitions that have been passed down to us that have come to us historically. And I think that it's important for us to constantly have this idea that we want to revise our beliefs. There's a kind of stagnancy in the traditional religions in the West, the Abrahamic traditions in the West.
Well, when you say stagnancy, I think you mean constancy. You mean the sense that this is a long dialogue with a faith and a text, etc., etc. And that changes over time. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Now, if I knew that worse things were coming down the pike, then I think I would agree with you guys. It's better to nudge people into benign delusions than it is for them to go to Crazy Town and start killing everybody or enslaving them or sawing their heads off with butter knives or something insane. So if I knew what was coming in the future for Western civilization, which I don't think anybody does, we do have a hint of that with the shift of demographics, but there are many, literally hundreds of millions of peaceful Muslims that I don't think that there's any necessity from that. I just think that trapping people into ancient ways of viewing the world, however lovely you might think it is, or in a way that you were raised to think it is, there's something demeaning and pernicious about that. There's something in which you ask somebody to forfeit something intrinsic to themselves. And we're totally out of time. All right, thanks everybody.